This is John Black, super chemist. I don't even know what part this is. Maybe 3. I don't even know. Maybe even 4. But anyways, it's about the World Bank. And the World Bank is basically creating an empire in secret, unlike war. I'm assuming now, because I brought it up. I mean, like, no, my entire life, I bring it up. People act like this isn't happening. Like this is not happening. Even though they tell you it's happening, the CIA themselves tell you. They admit most of this stuff. So it's like, and what's funny is there's more slavery now than ever before in the world because of the World Bank and because of them opening the border. Just think about the open border. 325,000 children. That's that's a third of 1 million children gone missing. Where do you think they're at? Do you think they're at the Brady Bunch's house? No, they're slaves. We all know there's a slaves. Okay, they're either torture slaves, sex slaves, work slaves, or killing slaves. Where you just kill, torture and kill them. There's no other explanation. You can't tell me that many kids went missing and they just all of them were at the Brady Bunch's house. All of them were good families. No. But yeah, in the whole world, though, there's more slavery now than there was before because of this raping of all the countries. And the emperor of this empire that they're making, right? That is what the deep state is. The deep state, if you haven't got it yet, are the people who own the Federal Reserve Bank, right? Who own the World Bank. And they always own the oil, the munitions and arms factories, and the giant construction, construction companies that go in and, rebuild countries after we destroy them. That is the deep state, okay? And one more part of the deep state is the corporations. The corporations of themselves, like BlackRock, Vanguard, They are the deep state. And if you look at their CEOs and their presidents of these corporations, and then you look at our, who was our Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Interior, the Vice President, President, Congressman, they're all the same people. All of them. They just move back and forth. Well, they start these wars and use their companies to just, like a vacuum cleaner, just suck out everything. So let's see here. So what do you call this World Bank? It's basically a corporatocracy, okay? I like to call it a corporate communism. It's the same thing, just like Nazism or fascism. They're all the same thing. You got people at the top, they want to take all your rights and all your money, and everyone be living in dirt, starving at the bottom. They're all the same system. So the marriage of the CIA and the corporations, meaning the elites, that is what the deep state is. That's what it is right there, okay, in a nutshell, all right? And this marriage takes over the government, you know what I mean, and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, they control media through stock shares or direct ownership or advertising. I want you to think about this. The last 10 years or something, they started putting advertisements on for drugs, like Pfizer and Moderna or whatever. They're putting on medications and stuff. That used to be illegal because why would you advertise to just a regular person who isn't a doctor? They can't determine whether they need something or whatever. But pharmaceutical commercials are 40% of the revenue for the news media. That's how they get their money, and 40% of it is from the pharmaceutical company. All right. Then you got Bill Gates, his philanthropy, what he calls, and where he helps people go to college and helps them afterwards and do this and that. Yeah, basically all his money, he sprinkles a little bit of good stuff that he does, but most of it, when he's helping something or someone, he's helping them to help himself. Like all the people that he put through college, they're all reporters and journalists right now in Fox and CNN. Yeah, that's why he helped them. He doesn't help them because to be nice. He helps them because he knows they're going to help him later on, you know, because he wants to control the media. So they just, you know, they buy it. They, you know, they infiltrate it with people. You know, there's the CIA after. See, that's the thing. This thing about the propaganda. We legalized it under Bush. Vice President Bush was president, I think, and he made it legal because he got rid of the fairness doctrine, and that doctrine said that you had to always have at least 20% of, you know, the other side. So if you said something like the Democrats, you had 80% of the time, but 20% of the time you have to have a Republican there saying the other side. So it's hard for the left to lie when right after they talk, you put the Republican on and he says, oh, you were just lying about that and you were lying about this. You can find out how you lied by going here. And you know what I mean? That made everything not propaganda. So they took that away. They made it legal. Before that, I mean, you could be biased when we had the fairness doctrine. You just couldn't call yourself the news if you were biased. You had to call yourself a commentary or something. You had to call yourself whatever. You couldn't call yourself the news. But they got rid of that. So now they made it legal basically to be propaganda. You don't have to have that 20% on the other side telling you, you know, to counteract what you're saying. And then they amended the Smith-Mundt Act. You know, CIA could always infiltrate news outlets and control them as long as they were foreign. Right? But once they made that amendment to the act I just mentioned, then it made it legal for them to infiltrate and control U.S.-owned news outlets. They made it legal for the CIA to infiltrate and control the news with this amendment. So those two thingies, and those were both done, I think, under Vice President George Bush. Okay. And they finance. Wait, let me see. Direct ownership. They finance the politicians' campaigns. You know what I mean? That's what. There's no Republicans and Democrats. They're all the same people. You know what I mean? They just pick the. You know, when they have the primaries, right? So you got to have a vote for the Republican and a vote for the Democrat, right? They just pick the most corrupt one on both sides. And that's who's going to win, because that's who's going to, they're the rich people and they fund all the commercials and fund everything. So these two people were definitely going to win. And they're both owned by the same people. You know what I mean? So they don't really give a crap who gets in, okay, until Trump, because he wasn't owned by, it was the first time where they didn't own both people. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter who gets in or whatever. They're the same people. You know what I mean? They're the elites. Like Obama, the Democrat, and Bush and Cheney. Yeah, the Republicans, they're the same people. That's why they're Cheney and the Bush family is endorsing Kamala, the Democrats. Because they're the same people. Yeah, and then what they do is, and if you look at the history, this is the way it goes. President gets into office, he's Republican. When he gets into office, the Congress soon after changes into Democrat, the opposite of the president, because the president, they start doing crazy stuff. Then after that, they get another president in, and it's different than this guy, and then they change, they flip the president's party, and then they flip, and then soon after that they flip the Congress. And they just keep flipping. And the reason why they do that is because there's only two parties because people are stupid instead of having a third party, that cares about the country instead of their ideology. Like the right thinks about their ideology, that's all they care about. And the same with the left. They don't really care about the country. They just care about their ideology. But since they're owned by the same people, the trick is they go all the way to the left, and they do all these social programs and these spending all this money that doesn't even help anybody. It just feeds the machine, makes the machine bigger, the government bigger. It helps no one. And then they make money because, those social programs, you need buildings to have them in. You have people, infrastructure. You have to have, a lot of money spent on social programs. All you have to do is be the guy who does the business on it, What if it's a social program on feeding people? Well, you have to have a business that feeds people. You know what I mean? Then you come up with this social program. Oh, I got a company right here. We can just use it. It's your company, And then they're so crazy, the Democrats, on what they spend that everyone gets sick of it. And then it just goes back to the Republicans. And then the Republicans fix everything that they did. But see, you've lost a lot of your rights while this thing goes back and forth, this pendulum, right? You lose a lot of money because the social programs never get taken down, even though they're stupid. They remain there forever. You know what I mean? Because no one has the balls to take any of them away. So then it goes back to the Republican, right? And then they start doing their crazy ideology. They start to ban abortion and all this crap, just being so crazy. And then this side is in social programs. The way they spend money is war, usually, okay? The Republicans are the war party, you know what I mean? And they want to borrow money from the Federal Reserve, you know what I mean, so they can fund their war, because they own all the weapons factories. They own all the construction factories that's going to come in after the war. And then they take your rights away. You know what I mean? Because they fearmonger. You know what I mean? Just like the left, they fearmonger. Like the left is trying to get rid of free speech. Like they're trying to get rid of the First Amendment. Like that's crazy. Because it's fearful. We got to have someone there to get rid of the misinformation, or we'll just all die tomorrow. It's all fear mongering, and then they take rights away, just like George Bush on the Republicans. He did the Patriot Act. Now they can go legally into your house, no warrant, no attorney, never tell anyone, keep you forever, never telling anyone, torture you, kill you, all in the name of national security, because you might be a terrorist, maybe. Alright, run out of time here. Let's see what I was talking about. Got off the whatever there. But anyways, this World Bank, none of them are elected. There's no accountability. CIA, like I said before, the CIA needs money to do black ops, and the corporations need black ops, but they have a bunch of money. The marriage is there. At the top, you can't tell if a person works for a corporation or a government, because they go back and forth. The government and these corporations, they kind of blend together, especially when it comes to top secret stuff or making weapons that are kind of, nobody knows about. These people, the CIA, the corporation, the government, they just go back and forth, BlackRock, just back and forth. That's how you can tell who they are. So whatever ones are going back and forth, those are the ones. Like, we should just look them people up, and whoever they're related to, no one ever vote them into office or give them any kind of power ever again. Like I said, Halliburton, Dick Cheney was the president of the Halliburton Corporation, and then, after that, he's the vice president of the United States. You know what I mean? They supply the weapons for the war, they steal all the oil and resources, and then they supply the corporation after the war to fix everything that they just destroyed.